Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you my version of the tornado shot data in Magic Find to farm 8-ball maps with Wandering Path. We're going to see in this video a showcase, then we're going to talk about a brief overview of the tornado shot as a skill, we're going to talk mechanically how it works, then we're going to see the gear, the costs, and finally some closing words after experiencing and playing with this build. It doesn't matter what I have to tell you if the build doesn't work. So we are going to start with a showcase of a map. We are using, just like we said, the Wandering Path keynote with the full head here. We're going to have an extremely increased effect of these 8 mods. And we also are in a bunch of other stuff you're going to see in the map. And finally, this is my gear. I will hover over and you're going to see that this is the same gear that we are going to see later on when I show you my trade captures of the build cost. And one last thing, we are using the perma node for delirium. So we are going to see that we are going to activate the mirror at the start and the delirium will be on until the end of the map. Okay, let's start. I have here a map that this is an 8 mod map. And as you can see, there is a bunch of stuff, like for example, the less regen recovery rate that amplified with the Wandering Path that will be over 100%, and some more or less cursed stuff and monster fires to additional projectiles. So okay, let's start it. I'm selecting the breach. I have all my stuff here, my sextants. First, we have to find the mirror. So we activate it and you will be activated for the rest of the map. So as you can see, there's going to be a lot of mobs in these maps. We're going to activate the first breach. You have to try to not be on melee range, because you cannot get hit twice in an invasion build, or at least you want to avoid that. And with tornado shot we can clear the mobs off screen, so it's fine. We're going to activate the second breach here. We also have rituals in this strategy because of this strategy. But you're going to see for some extra mods. And as you can see, we clear the mobs just fine. There's also harbingers here. Here we have the third breach, which is pretty reapy, just because there's a lot of mobs in here, and these mobs are also magic, so they have some decent damage, and once they overwhelm you, they will hit you, so you have to be pretty careful. For example, now, since there are a lot of them, you have to clear them quite quickly, and can start the ritual too. For example, this is one of the worst ones because this adds a degen if you touch the ray. But yeah, it's fine if you have to not get hit KW. And so this side is cleared. We're going to go to the boss room. You have to hit it from the distance because we have arson shot. Okay. We clear the harbinger here. Let's see if drops a mirror. Oh, not mirror, not lucky. You continue your ritual. Stay here. Okay. Okay. Forbidden Zone. I'm dropping a lot of this, by the way. Now the Legion Monolith. As we have so many projectiles, we can reliably clear them all in the short time duration that we have without increasing it. That's pretty fine. I usually loot while clearing, but since this is a showcase, I will try to loot after that so we don't lose that much of time. Because I just want to say there is a god touch here. because I don't want to. I want to be as. I just want to show you how's the clear and that we can do pretty comfy with this build. This is like the fourth breach. And also this in this map, I think that we aren't even inflicting the scourge, the brittle, and that can. Ouch! I was stunned. Okay, so this thing, as you can see, can happen if you stay in melee. If you get stunned by the mobs and the breaches overwhelm you, you will die. You will die basically. But that happens time to time, and if you're careful enough, that won't be an issue. And you're still not using your map at all. I haven't lost a map in all my in all my tests, so that's fine. We are still, after all, using a budget magic find, so you have to know or limits. Oops. The fifth breach. I think this is the Chayula ones that have some chaos damage. So they are like the wards from all four or all five. There's on Thor here. As you can see in this strategy, we get a bunch of stuff all over the map. And we are fishing for the brass gift, right? Like I said, this is one of the worst rituals because of the degen. And as you can see, there's 5 monster remain. So yeah, the map is pretty much cleared. And as you can see, we did die once, but that's not too frequent. And in the worst case scenario, you just go back, and that's completely fine. You won't lose your maps, just going to lose some time. And yeah, this is the showcase. We're going to open the ritual. It's good. Okay. And yeah, that's it for this showcase. I will finish the loading the map, and we are going to continue with the video. Tornado shot is a projectile bow skill that shoots the main projectile that then explodes on hit, and then it releases another second projectiles. We want to focus using the skill on the extra number of projectiles and also on the projectile speed, because that will gives us the shotgunning effect for the single target DPS, and for the clear speed, because the projectiles are going to travel further to better clear speed while mapping. Okay, here's how it works. This is you, right? And this is your bow. And the skill itself shoots just one projectile. This is the main projectile, and when it hits the ground or a wall, or it hits an enemy, it explodes, right? And then it releases 3 different secondary projectiles. You have to have in mind that these projectiles can only hit the same enemy once, so yeah, you cannot deal triple damage with the same projectile. There's also an helmet enchantment that can give an extra secondary projectile. That the helmet is pretty damn good. The helmet enchantment is pretty damn good, but it's pretty expensive too. And it gives an extra projectile, so instead of 3, it will be 4. Yeah, just to have that in mind. So the idea in this build is to have as many as main projectiles as you can. So once you have 2 projectiles, this is also going to explode, and another secondary projectile is going to be released from here. And the thing is that even though the same explosion, the projectiles from the same explosion can damage the enemy mob twice, only one of them can hit. when when they come from different main projectiles, they can hit the same enemy twice. So this is how you shotgun a boss. So for example, let's clear all of this, and let's say that this is the boss, and this is a top view, and again this is you, and this is your bow, and you shoot with the tornado shot, and explodes here, explodes here, explodes here, and then this is going to release some projectiles, right? Let's say it's right here and here and here. So as you can see, 3 different secondary projectiles from 3 different main projectiles hit the enemy. So in this case, we are basically doing the shotgunning, hitting the enemy 3 times. And that's why this is the main reason that we want to have as many main projectiles in this build. We're going to have in total around 7. With more investment, you can have even more. And this is also good for clear speed, since once you're clearing maps, you're going to have, instead of one big enemy, you're going to have a lot of them, small enemies, all over the place. And since you are shooting these projectiles basically to anywhere, they're going to be flying around and they're going to be hitting these enemies. Also, we have the chain, so when this projectile hits an enemy, it will travel through the nearest enemy, if there is any, and you will hit in twice enemies. And there's also the projectile speed that will make these projectiles to travel further. So this is you, and if this is your screen, you're going to be creating your whole screen just with tornado shot. And this is why mechanically tornado shot is one of the best skills for bows in Path of Exile. So now we already mentioned all the key pieces that makes these builds work. There is also other stuff, for example, a lot of uniques that you have to just get the ones with the best stats possible. For example, the Ventors, you have to maximize the quantity, the rarity, get the resistances to cap your resistances based on the other gear and that kind of stuff. So I will start saying some of the most important stats for this build. So to start in this build, we have 100% critical chance, we have 100% hit chance, of course. We have 2.4 million damage. This is per secondary projectiles in the draw. This is the projectile after the explosion, and each one deals 2.4 damage to the enemy. So as you can see, this is pretty damn good. If you consider that you are going to hit multiple times, we have, I think we have 9 projectiles or 7. And yeah, that's pretty damn good damage. And as you saw in the showcase, and we have almost 30k effective life pool. This is a lot for the kind of build that we are doing here. This is obviously not for a hardcore build or anything like that. And then we have the spell suppression cap at 100%. We have 73 evade chance. And if we get hit, that will increase to 80. So yeah, this thanks to the wind dancer here. Okay, about the gear itself, the most important stuff that you have to get is starting with the bow. You want to have a bow with a high elemental damage. As you can see, I have here 874 DPS, elemental DPS. Then you also want to have a bow that has an extra projectile, because all the stuff you already talked. And then you want to have also attack speed and also crit chance. You want a bow that has all of this stuff, and if you cannot get, because of the budget, you have to lower these stats. You cannot get a bow without crit chance or a bow without attack speed, because it's going to feel bad and it's going to make all of the rest of the build much harder to work. Okay, for example, if you don't have good attack speed, you will have troubles scaling the damage, and if you don't have some good base crit chance, then all the increased crit chance is going to work on a small stat, and you will have again a lot of trouble trying to reach to these numbers, because it's important for the type of content that we are going to run here, that is pretty damn hard. So if you check the trade, like right now, I have a search here for the bow with all that just said, and you can get a bow, for example, for 6 divines, or here's a bow for 60 link for 9 divines. I did get mine for 8 divines, so you just have to check the trade. Let's say any. You can find our for 6, 7, 8. It's a pretty damn, it's a good price, I would say. And 9, and in over that is just some better bows. So like I said, you want to have the extra projectiles, you want to have a good base grid, a good attack speed, and a decent elemental DPS. Obviously, if your budget is higher, I would recommend to get a better one, or start with these stats, with a bow, form some currency, and then improve. But this is a mandatory starting point, and half our budget is going towards this item. Okay, then we have to talk about the interrogation jewel that I think, in my opinion, that it's pretty undervalued. In my opinion, what this cluster jewel does is that we cannot inflict the ignite, chill, freeze, or shock. Especially what hurts us is the shock, but instead we can do the scorch, the brittle, and sap. So even though you lose the shock damage, that extra damage is pretty damn good. But instead, we do have the orders, alternative elemental ailments, also provides you with more damage. So for example, the brittle one is pretty damn good to cover your critical chance. This allows you to have less gear pressure, and this is why you can build the rest of the gear with much less currency compared to other options. Then you have the Scorch element that basically reduces the enemy's resistances. This is like an penetration, or you can think as an expose, but they are not unexposed. So this also provides more damage in your build. And finally, we have the sub that we are, this is like the enfeebled curse, just make your enemies to deal less damage. So this is a defensive alternative ailment, and it's pretty damn good. If you can see, if I remove it, we lose a quite chunk of effective life pool. And since we are playing a tornado shot that spreads all these projectiles everywhere with chains and all that kind of stuff, we are effectively applying these to basically all the mobs that are at least near us. So yeah, this is pretty much reliable. With the stats we see here, I'm using, for example, the Calamitus that increases our effects of non-damage ailments. We are also using this mastery for 50% extra non-damage elements on our critical strikes, since we are always critting after the first one at least. And then we have some extra effect here. So this is why our numbers here are pretty high. Our Scorch is capped out. I think that the sub is also capped out, but I saw 14, so I just tapped that 14 here. And for a brittle, I did see a 6.0 brittle in unique enemies. So yeah, I'm trying to be conservative here. So that's why I'm adding a 3. But this is rare a lot, since we can remove, for example, critical chance, and we are still capped out in 100%. And this is because, yeah, the interrogation is pretty damn good. Okay, about the cluster jewel, other players, as you can see in POE Ninja, they usually use the martial POE prowess. This is a pretty damn good node, but then they use the life leech with the Fitty Fury and the other one for the mana. And I instead like more to have the Calamitus for more damage and effect of the non-damage elements, and also this node that's called Arson Shot. This basically is a node that increases your critical chance and your damage based on the distance that the projectile travels. Since we are sucking a lot of the projectile speed everywhere, and we are playing tornado shot that the projectiles fly around the screen, this is pretty much always capped out at 100% critical chance and the damage, unless you are, for example, meleeing a mob or a boss. And this is why I like this setup much more than the one using the leech damage. Even more considering that the increase of damage while leeching is turned off once your life is full. Because you recover your life pretty fast, that damage is conditionally, it's not always on. I instead prefer for the leech this cluster node. So I have the instant leech here and some base leech. This is more than enough, as you already saw in the showcase, to keep us alive. And I'm using the region here, the leech in the region here, and I have more damage in my clusters. I also have this cluster for more damage basically, and more quality of life for the speed and the attack speed to make the build to feel better. And finally, about the tattoos, I have some here for the stats, so we can cap our stats. The main problem we have here for the berserker, that I don't even have at level 20. So yeah, this level 20 is 155. So well, I could have the max one I have now is 17. But yeah, we do have a lot of problems with strength. There is a mod here that you can craft. That is the veil one that has the critical chance, and then it has some stats for that's strength and intelligence. That's pretty damn good. So if you can get a bow with that craft, that's going to save you a lot of troubles. Otherwise, you will have to rely on the tree, on the tattoos. Thankfully, we do have them. And also for the resistances, I have some here to cap the resistance without the flasks, and all the rest, some extra stats and resistance here, and all the rest of the nodes are going to be for the projected speed. As we already talked about this, projected speed is pretty damn good in conjunction with the bow mastery, because this projected speed is also going to affect our damage. So yeah, that's pretty damn good. In the future, for versions with more budget, and this is a level 94 character, for a level 100 character, we want to have the tattoo for the projectiles. That's 7 divines each, but we can slot one here, and we're going to slot one here also. And yeah, that's it for the tattoos, for the content of this league. Okay, so for this section, we're going to see the prices of all the items. I will show you in the screen all the captures of the trades that I did for these items and how much currency I did pay. And some areas are lesser and some areas are the same. But yeah, again, I have to emphasize that the most important piece in this build is the bow. So literally half of our budget is going towards the bow. And yeah, then the rest of the stuff, for example, we are paying for cluster jewel for divines. Cluster jewel is pretty damn good, and it provides us a lot of damage increase, as you can see, and as you saw in the POE. And then we have some jewels. Then we have to buy some special vendors for a build that has the quantity ready. If you don't find some with enough resistances for you, then you have to lower the quantity roll. I would suggest to not go below 7 quant, and try to get a decent rarity roll. And yeah, the rest is just getting the rolls in the uniques and in the gear. For example, you have the bell with a high strength roll. Try to get the one that you can find in the market in the budget that I did get. And yeah, that's basically for the cost section. So in the video, some final words and some sort of conclusion. Honestly, the build feels pretty damn amazing to play. We have a pretty damn good budget. I don't think that you can go even lower of that, or the build will just break apart, or you won't be able to farm one of the hardest content, right? That is the 8-ball map with the Wandering Path keystone to farm some divination cards. That's one of the best strategies that you're going to find in Path of Exile. And yeah, I don't know, if you still didn't start a Magic Find, or you weren't convinced yet, I think this is a perfect opportunity for you to start a Ranger. If even more, if you already have a Ranger, this is just a level 94 Ranger. And yeah, again, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start your Magic Find character. And also, if you have any questions about the build or about I don't know, other options, you can just tell me in the comments, and I will reply to them. And yeah, guys, that's it for this time, and subscribe for more content, and yeah, see you guys in the next video.